As a constitutional law attorney, former senior legal advisor and personal counsel to President Donald J. Trump, Jenna Ellis believes in the rule of law and the importance of integrity in our elections. And she's ready to tackle the big cultural and legal issues facing America. This is the Jenna Ellis Show. Here is your host, Jenna Ellis.
Happy Monday from Orlando, Florida. AFR is at the NRB convention, and all of the acronyms are always fun. So American Family Radio is at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. This is a gathering of Christian communicators and the world's largest gathering, in fact. And so joining me later on in the week, we will get some guests in media and from other networks that will join this show. And also my Salem media colleagues and podcast will be here as well. One of my good friends, Mike Ferris, who some of you know as the former CEO of the Alliance Defending Freedom that does a lot in the religious liberty space, is now general counsel for the NRB. So he's going to join me tomorrow on the podcast. You can find that at thejennaellisshow.com. And later on today on this show, I am so excited to welcome Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, because he will be here in Orlando at the NRB convention tonight to give opening remarks to the gathering of Christian communicators. So we're going to talk about religious freedom, his commitment to that. Maybe he'll even have an announcement for us today. We'll see. I kind of doubt that, but, that would be awesome.
With inflation, the banking world collapse, and everything that Joe Biden is doing not to protect America, you need to make sure to secure your financial health, especially in retirement. And hey, if you're a millennial like me, that actually is sooner than you think. You need to start now, even if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, to make sure that your financial health is actually healthy when we get to retirement. And Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in gold and silver online in real time. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped right to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar, and this puts you in complete control of your money. The platform is free to sign up for. Visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and against a volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. This brand new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Visit legacypm.com to get started. You can download the free investor's guide, and you can also call Legacy PM Investments to talk to a portfolio expert to get expert answers to your to customize your personal portfolio. So visit legacypminvestments.com to get started. Tell them that Jenna sent you.
So joining me now is the Florida governor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, as a new Florida resident myself and leaving a terribly run Democrat-controlled state, I just have to first off say thank you so much for your work, and I have definitely upgraded my governor.
Well, it's a team effort. We've been able to do a lot over many years since I've been governor, and some of that required me to basically stand alone for freedom during COVID, for example. But a lot of the great stuff we've done here recently has been working in concert with our legislature, and I think they've done an incredible job, and we've been able to put points on the board that even a few years ago Republicans would have thought just weren't possible.
Yeah, and Governor, you've succeeded in accomplishing an incredible conservative agenda. But speaking of upgrades, a lot of Americans are also very excited at the prospect of upgrading our president as well. So I do have to ask you, any news on when you will announce?
I would just tell people, stay tuned. I think we all understand the country is going in the wrong direction. People see that. When I ran for re-election, the majority of Floridians thought Florida was going in the right direction, and a huge majority thought America was going in the wrong direction. So you see the difference between good governance and what that can do, and poor leadership and poor governance. And I would just tell people it doesn't have to be this way. I think Florida showed that there's a path to succeed and to do really big things, and we will have an announcement shortly.
That's very exciting, and I know a lot of people are really looking forward to that. And you've mentioned your accomplishments during the legislative session. A lot of the emphasis in the media has been your fight against the woke agenda, but you've also done quite a lot to protect religious freedom and speech, including the bill that I just mentioned, 225, last week on prayer in high school athletics. So how would you describe your commitment to the protections of religious freedom?
I think it's absolute. I think partly because it's just something that's fundamental as Americans. It's something that our founding fathers knew was fundamental to a free society. And in this day and age, this crazy age we live in where everything's upside down, religious liberty has probably never been more threatened. And so it requires people like me in these positions to stand forthrightly in defense of it. So a couple of the things we did, you did mention that bill. So in Florida, our high school athletics had been governed by this basically private body, the Florida High School Athletic Association. And they would do things like not allow schools to do a prayer on the intercom before a football game. And we viewed that as a violation of the religious freedom. And so we have basically reorganized that board so that it's subject to gubernatorial appointments, and we're going to make sure that it's doing what's in the best interest of Florida. Interestingly, that same board, that FHSAA, they drug their feet on our women's sports law that we signed a couple years ago, which basically says in Florida, girls and women athletes have a right to compete with integrity and fairness. And you can't swim on the men's team for 3 years and just switch to the women's team and start racking up championships. That is not right, and that's not allowed. It took them a year and a half just to implement that. So now we have accountability with that body. It'll be good for women's sports. It'll be good for religious freedom. And another thing we did is we expanded conscience rights for physicians. You know, we think it's really important that if you're training to be a doctor, that you do not have to do things like perform abortions or do things that violate your conscience. So we put really robust protections for that, as well as overall free speech for physicians. Because if you remember during COVID, if you dissented from the narrative, some of the times you could get run out of the profession. But it was the COVID dissenters who were really right about all these things, from lockdowns to mandates to masks. So I think that there's some significant protections for our physicians. And I think Florida is going to be a haven for physicians who want to flee places like California and be able to practice in freedom here.
Which is fantastic. And I'm speaking with Governor Ron DeSantis out of the great state of Florida. And you mentioned abortion as well. And you also recently signed legislation that protects life in Florida. Can you expand on your commitment to pro-life as well? Because so many of the listeners to the American Family Radio Network are very pro-life and really want to see that protection extended across the country, which Florida is leading on.
So we signed the Heartbeat Protection Act. And so the heartbeat bill is when there's the detection of a heartbeat of the unborn child, that we believe that's entitled to the child's entitled to legal protection. And that is by far the strongest pro-life protections that Florida has done in our lifetime. It joins many other states, as you alluded to, who've also done that post-Dobbs, and even some had that in place pre-Dobbs that just wasn't operable until after. So we think it's really important. It was a huge win for life. What we're also doing, though, is saying, look, we're not just pro-life when the baby's in the womb. We're also pro-life once the baby is born. So we've expanded postpartum medical coverage for poor mothers for a year after childbirth. We also have something that my wife has spearheaded called Hope Florida, Pathway to Prosperity, which is really focusing on a lot of vulnerable single moms who just may not have the support system in place. Don't just go to a government office and get a TANF grant or a check. We know that that's not going to be able to do the trick. It needs to be more than that. And so we've transformed our welfare system into more of an opportunity system where we enlist private groups, businesses, and churches as part of this care portal, so that if a young mom needs something, that goes through the portal, and you could have your local Baptist church show up and provide support. Maybe they need a mattress or a crib for their baby. What happens when you do that, Jenna, is once there's a connection made, the government ends up just getting out of the way, because a church that takes interest in one of these mothers, they're going to be so much better about getting them on their feet than somebody who's just working in a government bureau. But I think what we've done in Florida, we have embraced our churches and our synagogues in ways that other states have not been willing to do, and we're harnessing the best of our society. And at the end of the day, just a check, that doesn't provide anything in terms of your spirit or your soul or any of the things that people may need, and we're connecting them with that. And I think my wife will tell the story. They've had already 5,000 people have been served in this in the last year, and virtually none of them have gone back for government assistance once they were in our Hope Florida program.
Wow, that's incredible. And congratulations to the First Lady of Florida as well. And these are things that just provide so much meaning. And as you said, it's not just government assistance that can't really speak to the heart and soul. And that goes back to religious freedom and the ability for Christians and members of faith to participate in society and actively exercise their faith. And so speaking of that, we're here at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, where you will be giving opening remarks this evening. So can you give us a preview of your remarks and why supporting NRB as an organization is important to you?
Well, we'll certainly outline some of the things you and I just talked about and basically let people know that we're delivering results. We're also going to talk about what we've done to protect children in schools. And part of that is ensuring that they're learning math, reading, science, and not gender ideology. We don't think it's appropriate that a teacher would say, you were born in the wrong body, you can change your gender. We actually were the first state to nix the pronouns in K-12 education. And so a teacher cannot ask you to produce pronouns. And you see that that's happening around the country, and they're trying to further this idea of gender fluidity, which we reject. So we've been really strong on parents' rights. Also, we did the biggest expansion of school choice in the history of the United States. So now we have universal education savings accounts. Regardless of income, we focus school choice on low income, and rightfully so, but we believe that the money should follow the child. What that's going to mean is that there are parents throughout Florida who really believe that they want education with that religious foundation. And so if they want to go to a school, and it can be a Baptist school, it could be a Jewish school, Catholic, it doesn't matter. That's the parent's decision. And I think that's more and more important. As our world has gotten crazier, I think more and more parents are just looking for, okay, what's that solid foundation that I need for my kids to make sure that they're able to survive in an increasingly crazy world. And more parents are saying, you know what, we need to get back to basics here. We need to make sure that foundation of our kids' education involves a belief in God.
Absolutely. And my parents were at the forefront of that in my education. I was homeschooled K through 12, and I credit my parents for exactly that, of providing me with the worldview and the instilling faith and understanding the history of the United States and all of this that has led to my ministry and my voice. And so protecting parents' rights for all of those things and to train up a child in the way they should go so when they're older, they won't depart from it. My parents were at the forefront of that, and really appreciate what you're doing now for parents, as my generation is now having children, and it is an increasingly crazy society. And so finally, Governor, and I...
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
sorry?
tough. I mean, my wife and I were talking about, like, we grew up in the 80s and 90s. Not that everything was perfect, but the stuff that was geared towards children was much, much more innocent than the stuff today. And so as a parent, we have a 6'5" and a 3-year-old. We cringe sometimes if we're flipping channels on just like a cartoon, some of the stuff they're trying to jam down their throats. And that's just wrong. But it just shows you that our society has gone off the rails on some of this stuff. So we need this as a corrective for parents to have the ability to set that foundation for their kids' education.
100%. And this is why the culture war is so important, and the GOP cannot abandon that. And so the last question, Governor, and I so appreciate your time and everything that you've done in Florida. A lot of what you express and how you are so passionate about these issues seems to come from a place of personal faith and also a commitment to constitutional conservatism. So I know that our AFR listeners who are sincere Christians as well would love to hear more about your own personal faith as well.
Well, I think for me, the faith is just the foundation of my life. It's how my wife and I lead our kids and our family. It provides me the foundation necessary to be a leader in civil government and civil society. It helps you put all the crazy stuff that happens on a day-to-day basis in perspective because there's a higher calling and there's a higher purpose. And, some of these politicians go out there and prattle about this or that. Look, all I'm trying to do is pursue the truth and make sure that I'm consistent with that as our foundation. It does help you, too, to appreciate our founding fathers and how they conceived of constitutional government. And it's something that I've studied. I actually wrote a book on this about 10 years ago, which about a dozen people read. Now it's on eBay and people pay a lot of money for it. I can tell you that was not the case back in 2011. But what the founding fathers did, I think, was unique in human history. They understood that republics throughout history had failed, and they understood that the United States was going to determine whether we really could govern ourselves or not. And core to that conception of how society should be governed is the idea that our rights do not come from the government. They are endowed by God. These are our rights naturally, and government is created by us to protect the rights that we already possess. And if you have that as your starting point, I think you're going to get a lot of policy issues right. I kind of feel like a lot of people nowadays, they assume that the government gives us our rights, and that is not true at all. And every single one of the founding fathers would have rejected that conception of government-granted rights. They knew the rights were endowed by the Creator.
Amen to that. Well, I'll have to go on eBay now and find a copy of that book because I want to read it. So thank you so much, Governor Ron DeSantis. Really look forward to hearing your speech tonight and your remarks at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. And I hope that you and also your wife, Casey, will join me again here on American Family Radio Network. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. God bless. Thank you.
God bless you as well. All right, that was Governor Ron DeSantis out of the great state of Florida, and he will be speaking from the National Religious Broadcasters Convention tonight at 6:30. We will be broadcasting all week here on AFR. I will see you tomorrow morning.
With inflation, the banking world collapse, and everything that Joe Biden is doing not to protect America, you need to make sure to secure your financial health, especially in retirement. And hey, if you're a millennial like me, that actually is sooner than you think. You need to start now, even if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, to make sure that your financial health is actually healthy when we get to retirement. And Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in gold and silver online in real time. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped right to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar, and this puts you in complete control of your money. The platform is free to sign up for. Visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and against a volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. This brand new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Visit legacypm.com to get started. You can download the free investor's guide, and you can also call Legacy PM Investments to talk to a portfolio expert to get expert answers to your to customize your personal portfolio. So visit legacypminvestments.com to get started. Tell them that Jenna sent you.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt so soft in the store, but then when you leave and you go to use it, it's not really that absorbent? It's basically a towel that is leaving you out to dry. That's why MyPillow has developed the MyPillow towels that actually work. I know, it's totally mind-blowing. Towels that actually dry you. Their 6-piece towel set includes 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. They come in a variety of colors. I have the sage green and the white. I love them. And right now you can receive a 6-piece set for only $39.98 with promo code Jenna. That's JENNA. So go to mypillow.com right now and click on the radio listeners special. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty and have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So to receive this amazing offer on the 6-piece towel set of MyPillow towels, just go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener special, and enter promo code Jenna, that's JENNA, or call 1-800-564-8475. That's mypillow.com, promo code Jenna.